Hello everybody, it's Lee Henkin here. So today's video, I'm going to be explaining quickly how I personalize cold emails and how I do it without relying on custom or personalized first lines in every single email. So just to kind of give you a bit of a brief background on personalization for cold email personalization strategies. I mean, you've really got two approaches. One is segmented personalization, and the other is hyper personalization. So, segmented personalization is basically where you've got like a specific group of prospects and you're identifying commonalities or characteristics that apply generally to that specific group of people. So, therefore, the message you create will then be still relevant, even though it's a lot of prospects. Hyper personalization is really where you're personalizing every single email. So it's basically like unique for every prospect. While that works, obviously, if you've ever done it before, like I have, it takes an insane amount of time to do, really tedious, and it just, for most B2B companies, in my opinion, it doesn't even make sense to do it. So yeah, for most B2B businesses, in my opinion, segmented personalization is really what they should be prioritizing. Um, I can go into reasons why or why not in another video, but just for the sake of brevity, to not get away from the topic of this video, most B2B companies should just focus on segmented personalization, not hyper personalization. So that's pretty much that. And I kind of look at like doing custom first lines for every prospect. It's kind of, while it's not hyper personalization, it kind of is in a way, just because the first line is different for each prospect. But I mean, there's different layers to hyper personalization as well. But I kind of include custom first lines as like a, I guess you could call it like a layer of hyper personalization. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go through how I do it, and I mostly rely on segmented personalization. So the way I do it is I'll have like my ideal client profile, um, and essentially I will kind of look at the following things here, like job titles of that, like ICP, seniority, location, the industry niche, what type of company it is, and like one big problem challenge they have, one big result desire they have. So I'll kind of like map that stuff out first and have it like on the Google Doc. And then I'll basically start writing my message and including those kind of points to personalize the messaging through. Okay, so that those things I got highlighted on the screen is really what I'm using to personalize the message to that segment, okay, or that specific group of prospects where they have those common characteristics. Hence why it's called segmented personalization. And if you do it well, it really works. It's quite effective, okay? Because the reason why is because you can do it at scale. Like you can literally have 1,000 prospects, even more, 2, 3, 5,000. And if you can identify common characteristics that are applicable to that group, yeah, you can do cold email at scale really well and get a really good response rate. So I've got an example here. I've just got one example just to keep things short and sweet and get the point across. You can see here from reading this kind of how this applies. So what you've got various points of personalization in this example message here I've got. So you've got like here you're kind of just introducing yourself. At this point here, you're obviously putting their name in. So obviously, yeah, whatever their name is. And then next really important point in the message is here. So it's like saw from researching in my database niche companies in location that you're the director of advertising at company. So this particular sentence here, if you actually do your research correctly and make sure like your spreadsheet's accurate and all the data is correct in there, you can personalize this really to yeah, an entire group of prospects and make it kind of catch their eye. And what you could actually do here, while I've put director of advertising, you could literally just have like job title So then in your spreadsheet, you can just merge that accordingly. So yeah, like if you look at it, if you imagine you're the prospect, you get this message. It's like niche companies. So that could be like, I don't know, clothing e-com stores. So, saw from reaching in my database clothing e-com stores in, I don't know, London or UK or New York, whatever, that you're the job title at company. So that could be, director of advertising, senior media buyer, something like that, whatever it is at company. So in this particular sentence here that's highlighted, you've got essentially you got 4 points of personalization. Okay, just in that specific part of the message. Okay, and then you've got a point of personalization here, which is a fifth, and then in the next part of the sentence, which is just asking a question, you've essentially got a sixth point of personalization, which is niche product sales. So say, for example, you've got a list of 1,000 prospects who are some kind of e-com stores. Maybe it's retail e-com stores or footwear e-com stores, sports gear e-com stores. I don't know. You get the picture. But you would basically have it so it merges from the spreadsheet, this point of personalization, and then this location could be anything, could be state, city, depends what you're doing, and then obviously job title, and then niche product. So if you're doing like sports gear e-com stores as an example, it would look like, I assume you'd be looking at ways to increase sports gear product sales over the next few months or something like that, or it really just depends on what you're targeting. But in this entire first paragraph, you've got essentially 1 point of personalization here, and then what is it, 4 in this one sentence here. So niche companies, location, job title, company. So that's 4 points of personalization, 5 points including the name, and then here you got a 6th point of personalization. So in this one paragraph, you're able to apply 6 points of personalization. And that's just because of getting clear on this stuff. And then you just map that out in your spreadsheet. So it then merges with the text once you upload it into whatever cold email software you use. So if you have like a list of 1,000 prospects and you've basically mapped out your spreadsheet accurately, you can make this entire paragraph seem very like personalized to that entire group of people. Like it almost comes across as if it's just for them, even though it's not. But it comes across that way because of all the points of personalization. That's how segmented personalization works, right? So yeah, this is why I prefer to do it this way, because you can do it at scale. You just need to make sure that you know your ICP well and know kind of their challenges, struggles, what they want, and then you can put that accordingly in your message. All right. And just to move on to this second paragraph to finish up. So this is there's not really any points of personalization in here because you're just like mentioning like a case study, recent client success. And ideally, though, you'd want to make sure that the company you mention is related to whoever you're reaching out to. So as an example, if you're reaching out to sports gear e-com stores or sporting merchandise e-com stores, ideally you'd want to have like another store that's in that vertical. If not, you can always just like put another type of e-com store in. It gets the point across still, to be honest. And then obviously the CTA. So really what you're doing here in this first paragraph is where you're kind of adding in all your points of personalization, which are these, okay? And you might want to test and play around with some of this. Like for this example, for the sake of this video, we've kind of just looked at like niche product sales over the next few months, kind of the result what they want. But you could even ask a question. It's like, oh, I imagine you probably struggle to get X, Y, Z or something like that. And just really depends. That's kind of stuff you'll need to play around and test with when you do your outreach. But to not digress from the point of this video, that's how you do the personalization at a segmented level. So the main thing is having a specific group of prospects and a group of common characteristics, commonalities that are relevant to that entire group of prospects. And the way you do that is by this stuff here that I've just highlighted on the screen. And then you can just plug it into your messaging. As you can see, there's 6 points of personalization in one paragraph. So really effective way to do it. So what I find works, well, it's how I've always done cold email personally, although I have experimented with hyper personalization before. I just didn't really like it. I find it was a productive way to do cold email outreach personally. This is how I do it. It's what I find works well. So hopefully if you're struggling with how to personalize cold emails, you can apply this and look at those points of personalization to make your messaging come across relevant to a large group of prospects. That's pretty much it. Drop any thoughts, questions, feedback in the comments if you can. If you're on YouTube watching this, subscribe to the channel, like, share the video. Always appreciate your support. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, stay tuned until the next video. Thanks.